Good morning, John Benoit here. How are we doing for a quorum over there? I can't quite tell who's there. I see Janice.
And Dwight's here as well.
Can you hear some diver bar?
Okay, great. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Janice, are you all with us? There we go.
I'm here, all set.
Very, very good. So we have a quorum, I think, then?
Yes, we do.
Madam Secretary? Okay. And it's 12 o'clock, so I will call the 8:19 meeting of the Technology Committee to order. And we have a relatively short 3-item agenda, so let's get right into it. We'll go to item number 1. Do we need to do anything else preliminary?
Thank you, Supervisor. You also know
I see we're joined by Mr. Busquiano too. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Supervisor.
Okay, thank you. And let's have, is it Dean? Go ahead.
No, this is Matt, Supervisor. So this is an item that you previously heard at the Technology Committee. So I'm not going to go through all the details, but it was, as you recall, it's renewable natural gas fuel. It's from a bio feedstock as the core feedstock. And what they're doing is producing renewable natural gas. The comments from the committee at the time of the original proposal was that because of the exciting technology and the opportunity for increasing the renewable fuels and putting it into transportation fuel, the request is made to go back and look for additional funding to bring up the SCAQMD participation to 10%. And so that's exactly what we've done. We went back, we looked at the different funding pots that are available to the district, and we decided to add another $1.5 million from our BP ARCO settlement fund into also with $1 million from the Clean Fuels Fund. And so the major difference in what we presented last month and what's presented here is simply this funding distribution. And so the recommended action is that we execute a contract with Core Infrastructure for a total amount of $2.5 million, one from the Clean Fuels Fund and $1.5 million from the BP ARCO Settlement Project Fund.
Okay, thank you. I was the one that asked that we take another look at that. I thought that our original contribution was a little meager. Is anybody else, any of our colleagues may not be quite as familiar or may not recall the presentation. If you have any questions, we can go through it and go into more detail. But I support the increased contribution. Any other comments or questions from committee members?
Move approval of item 1.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Anyone opposed? Okay, Madam Clerk, you want to? Well, I guess we have to call the roll on the video. So go ahead.
Councilmember Buscaino.
Aye.
Councilmember Robinson.
Aye.
Supervisor Rutherford.
Aye.
Supervisor Benoit.
Aye.
Motion passes 4 ayes.
All right. Thank you very much. Now we'll move to item number 2, recognizing funds and executing contracts for highway duty vehicles. And let's see, the presentation on that one is going to be by Mr. Oshinaga.
I think it may be on a different agenda. Item 2 is, I'll present that, Supervisor, but it's for a supplemental environmental project that was requested by the EPA for us to administer. So since we're calling a special technology committee meeting anyway, we decided to put the projects that were ready to go into the agenda, and this is one of them. The EPA just recently asked us to participate or administer this project where they had a negotiation with Halliburton. They originally intended to do this project in the San Joaquin Valley, but they couldn't come to agreement with the air district there, or nor did the air district have as much experience as we did. So they jointly, that is EPA and Halliburton, came to us and requested us, the SCAQMD, to administer this project. And so we've, SCAQMD, EPA have jointly identified. Paul, is there an issue with the audio?
We can't call it right now.
Okay.
It'll stop.
We jointly identified IQ Air as the provider. We did a pilot program with them several years ago and identified that they have the best technology in terms of cleaning efficiency for air filters. We also checked with ARB to ensure that they are still the highest efficiency provider, and so we're going with IQ Air once again to implement this project. The filters themselves have over 85% cleaning efficiency in terms of ultrafines and PM and black carbon. They also have a low noise level, which is important for classrooms. And we, as you know, Supervisor, we have a lot of experience with IQ Air. They've done multiple schools in Coachella Valley as well as in LA Unified and Long Beach. So the proposed schedule is to get board approval in September, execute the contract, and you notice it's a pretty quick time frame because we want to execute the project before the end of the year. And so our recommended actions are simply to recognize the funds from Halliburton under agreement with the EPA. We would also take out some of the funds for administration of the contract. So the transfer is for $180,000, but you can see that we're taking some administrative fees from that for a total of $171,600 that will actually go to the air filter projects.
Okay, any further comments or how about questions from committee members?
I have a question. How many schools or how many classrooms is this money affecting?
It depends, Supervisor. So the filters are typically about 2,000 to 3,000 per classroom. So it depends on their HVAC system as well. So we'll try to maximize the number of classrooms with the available funding.
As an example, Supervisor, under AB 1318, we had the funding we had with IQ Air. We were able to do 7 school districts, and depending on the size of the classes, about $2,500 per classroom.
And how long does each filter last? How long is that going to take care of a classroom?
They last, I'm not sure about the timing, but there is in the contract, there is a period where IQ Air provides service and changing of the filters and so on, but I can get you the exact lifetime of the filter.
All right, thank you.
You know, that's a question that came up. We've done a lot of filters with Sentinel money in the Coachella Valley and our EJ areas. When the school districts looked at this, they realized that once you've installed it, the replacement of the filters is a relatively minor cost, and they're happy to bear that after the term of the original contract. And I would just recommend that, Mr. Buscaino, you have a lot of EJ areas that might very well benefit from this, and as we get going, I'm sure you'll make sure that they're aware of it.
Yes, sir. Especially in the Wilmington area where we have a number of schools.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, any other questions, comments? I'll have a motion.
I'll move the item.
Thank you, Dave.
Second.
Second. All right, and Madam Chair, or Madam Clerk, if you call the roll.
Councilmember Buscaino.
Yes.
Councilmember Robinson.
Aye.
Supervisor Rutherford.
Yes.
Supervisor Benoit.
Aye.
Motion passes 4 ayes.
Thank you. We'll move then to item number 3, and Ms. Lisa, you gonna run out?
Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
I have to recuse myself on this item because of a campaign contribution within the last year from Air Products and Chemicals, Inc.
We'll see you later. Thank you, sir. Okay.
Good afternoon. For this item, staff is proposing to execute and amend contracts for hydrogen station upgrades, site changes, and 2 related projects. So by way of background for the Burbank hydrogen station, SCAQMD is administering a $6.7 million CEC grant for hydrogen station upgrades. We had previously awarded funding for a Harbor City station to upgrade, but that was insufficient for the retail needs of the automakers. And so the site developer decided not to go through with that, so the contract was not initiated. In that solicitation, we also had awarded funding for upgrading the Burbank station, but it was insufficient and their needs have expanded at that station. And so the Governor's Office of Business Development, California Energy Commission, and the Air Resources Board staff have all agreed to reallocate funds to the Burbank station. And so our proposal for the Burbank hydrogen station, in order to improve reliability, increase capacity, and upgrade it to a retail level, we would be redirecting funding from CEC funds to upgrade compressors, cooling system, dispenser, storage, and also additional canopy and signs. The current station in the top right corner is a rather industrial looking location located on City of Burbank Yard. And so for this proposal, we would propose amending the Hydrogen Frontier contract to add $989,000, not to exceed $1.9 million total for Burbank's upgrade and expansion. And the following chart provides a breakdown of funding. Co-funding from the stations was not required under this solicitation, but Hydrogen Frontiers will be providing some in-kind labor. So the current contract was $930 plus in-kind funding, and the requested CEC funding addition would bring the total project cost to $2.1 million. And by way of background for the site changes that are proposed, there's currently 20 public stations, retail operating in California. The 10 in our region, just this week, we received announcement of an additional new station in Playa del Rey that is now considered retail ready. So there's a website where you can find out the status of these stations, and that data is provided by the station developers and collected by the California Fuel Cell Partnership. So for 2 of 8 hydrogen stations that were previously awarded funding to Air Products, 2 of the sites need to be changed. And also there was a site issue from a CEC award to Lindy in Northern California. And so Lindy has proposed to relocate that new equipment from Northern California to the Shell Newport Beach station. And so for the Air Products proposal, the site changes are in our region. One would be moving from Redondo Beach to Rancho Palos Verdes. The other would be moving from Irvine to Santa Clarita. So these changes have already been agreed to by the California Energy Commission. The original locations got into protracted issues with the lack of their site control and some permitting issues specific to those stations. So those contracts were not able to be executed, and so Air Products has proposed these site relocations. And so these relocations won't reduce the overall coverage in Orange County, but will enhance the interstate network by providing a connector from Santa Clarita to the next station north, which is at Harris Ranch. And to give you a little more background about the Shell Newport Beach station, the existing Shell station has old equipment, including a reformer, and we weren't sure how much longer this station would operate. So this is actually good news for that station. It is in a good location, and it will be using renewable biogas. But when the funding was awarded in Northern California, there was co-funding that was also with that site. So Shell has asked us to provide some additional co-funding from the Clean Fuels Fund to make this station upgrade happen. So here is the proposed funding from California Energy Commission. Shell is picking up some of the site costs as well as Lindy, and they're proposing that SCAQMD also add in some funds. So the total cost for that station upgrade is about $2.3 million. So in related projects, these are not to construct stations, but will help the overall station development. Senate Bill 1505 requires hydrogen to be 33% renewable in California. And many of the station developers actually want to go beyond that to get to 100%. But there needs to be more analysis done. And so Energy Independence Now will provide an analysis of renewable hydrogen pathways, the economics involved, and potential incentives to help provide additional renewable hydrogen, and also provide education and outreach regarding this issue. And so staff proposes to co-fund this for $25,000 from the Clean Fuels Fund. And there are also other co-funders. So here's the proposed funding. So automakers and fuel providers are providing co-funding as well as the funds requested from SCAQMD for a total project cost of $140,000. And in the final related project, this proposal basically would be to evaluate liquid hydrogen behavior. So the Department of Energy is funding the Sandia National Lab to evaluate liquid hydrogen behavior. And this helps them better understand and model the behavior of liquid hydrogen. And so this will be information used in updating their codes and code standards. So Bevolaqua is helping to gather additional matching funds for the Department of Energy to continue this work. And so staff is proposing to provide $25,000 in Clean Fuels funds to BKI. And here's the breakdown of the funding proposed. The 7 automakers are members of the Fuel Cell Partnership, and also Linde and Shell. And BKI would be administering that stakeholder fund to contract with Sandia. And so they're requesting $25,000 from SCAQMD as well. And so for the 5 actions in this board letter, the first one would be to amend the contract with Hydrogen Frontier to add funding to fully upgrade that station. The second action would be to amend the contract with Air Products to change 2 sites for which the funding was previously awarded and no change in funding. The third action would be to execute a contract with Equilon Enterprises, doing business as Shell, to co-share the upgrade and replacement of equipment at the Newport Beach Station. And the last 2 actions would be to execute a contract with Energy Independence Now to provide analysis of renewable hydrogen pathways, and a contract with Bevolaqua to provide evaluation of liquid hydrogen behavior. And not included in your package, but available for discussion to help you kind of get an idea of the overall network. This is the map of the hydrogen stations on the California Fuel Cell Partnership website currently. You'll see the orange are non-retail stations, and you can kind of see the upper left-hand corner, that's the Burbank station. We're hoping to turn that station to yellow in development and green retail with this additional funding. The yellow stations show ones that are in development but are not ready to fuel yet. The green stations are ready, and those are the ones I referred to as retail ready. There's a blue station in the Coachella Valley. That's the Sunline bus station. And this map does not reflect the proposed site relocations, so you won't see the station there for Santa Clarita yet. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Okay, thank you for that presentation. And I'm not seeing the map. I'm not sure why we don't see the presentation, but I asked them to add that because concern was raised by myself and yesterday during the briefing was these ones we're moving are moving a pretty long distance, but we are assured that the new locations fit well into the overall scheme of well-diversified locations for all of the hydrogen fueling systems. So with that, any other questions, comments from colleagues?
Sure, Supervisor. I'm delighted
Please.
to see new locations coming online, but as the map makes it clear, this is a very west side activity. And a lot of people travel up the 15, a lot of people travel through Supervisor Benoit's county. And what do we need to do to start seeing some of these map spots move out here?
Well, yeah, Supervisor.
And I can't see the map. Does it show the one in Riverside? Because we do have one either online or will be shortly.
It does show.
It does, one in Riverside
One in Ontario.
and the one
Okay.
coming to Ontario.
Yes, so Supervisor,
There's
that's,
one in Ontario at that station, the gas station near the airport, where they have any kind of fuel known to man?
That's it.
Yeah, okay. And then we're going to have one at Thousand Palms out here in the Coachella Valley, so, but the question of 15 in Vegas is that's a legitimate concern.
that's correct. So Supervisor Rutherford, we've been, Supervisor Benoit has reminded us many times in the past several years that we need to push the Energy Commission and the automakers to ensure that there's coverage as you go more inland. And so we have been bringing that up to them. The Energy Commission works with the automakers to survey the demand that's forecast and the demographics. And so they've initiated with kind of the, as you mentioned, the west side, but we are working with some to ensure that bus fueling station becomes a retail station. And so we're in discussions with them to accept a proposal. And we'll look for other opportunities as you go east from Riverside. We continue to do that.
Okay, any other questions? I'd entertain a motion.
I'll move the item.
Second?
Thank you very much. Madam Secretary, call the roll.
Councilmember Robinson,
Aye.
Supervisor Rutherford,
Aye.
Supervisor Benoit,
Aye.
3 ayes, motion passes.
Okay, I think that's the last item. I know that's the last item on our agenda. Do we have any members of the public that would like to comment in any of our locations?
We have one.
I want to point out that go ahead. Yeah, let's hear. Where's that at?
Dartmouth.
Okay. I'm not sure who it is, but if you would please step up and welcome. We have the opportunity for you to comment, and I think I recognize that face, and so you know the routine, right?
It's Santa Claus. I'm Harvey Etter. I'm talking for myself and for the Public Solar Power Coalition. This is my first time, I think, before the Technology Committee. I'm glad to hear that you're doing hydrogen stations, but the hydrogen is basically made from natural gas, and it should be made through electrolysis with solar energy. So that's something to keep in mind in the future. Our position is for immediate total solar conversion, and the section 10 in the draft plan is much improved over other efforts, but comes up short on certain things. So that's good. One thing is there's a program there were 8 reports. It's called Sunshot, and it's through the Department of Energy, and it started in 11, and in 12 there was a vision statement and documents that came out, and just early, in the May 18th there was pathway to Sunshot. It's supposed to bring solar energy, photovoltaics, and concentrating solar power down to 6 cents a kilowatt hour anywhere in the country by 2020. And they're 2/3 of the way there. And we submitted to the advisory board in June the May reports, 8 reports on the path to Sunshot, which included information about concentrating solar power, already has thermal energy storage and runs for 24 hours. And Professor Mark Jacobson of Stanford University, who wrote with Professor Mark DeLucci, now at UC Berkeley, the Transportation Institute, a November 2009 article, the cover of Scientific American, Converting the World to Wind, Water, and Solar Sustainable Energy by 2030. And since then.
30 seconds, Harvey.
Okay, well, natural gas peakers are outcompeted. This concentrating solar with storage is less expensive than natural gas peakers. There should be, this information should be known by the committee, and your consultants should know about this as well. Also, EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, has
Thank you.
Clean Air
Harvey,
Science
your
Advisory
time has
Committee,
expired.
and this should be, and there are other things through the Environmental Protection Agency that should be actively implementing the recent changes in cost effectiveness of solar energy technologies.
Thank you very much, Harvey. I appreciate it, and I'm glad you made it to our technical committee. I would just point out that I don't disagree. We need to do as much as we can. It's costly and it's expensive, but we're moving towards more solar produced. And if I recall correctly, when Sunline put their first hydrogen facility online 8 or 9 years ago, it was 100% solar powered, the conversion process. And I believe that as they move to the newer technology, they're going to try and do that again. So it will be, if not 100%, a very significant portion of it is going to come from solar power to compress the gas, et cetera. So it's a goal we're trying to get to, and I appreciate your comments. Any other public comments anywhere out there? I'd just like to mention that we are joined here by Mr. Thomas Lister Looker, who is a candidate for the Palm Springs Unified School District. And since I've never had a public member here, I made him stay for the meeting. So, at any rate, thank you very much. Anybody else? Any final comments for the good of the order? Seeing none, we'll be adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to ride?